We're not real brothers, we're sports brothers, and this week, talking nachos. We're going to fix America's favorite bar food, motocross goat Ricky Carmichael on the show, and you know what they say about big hands?
Big podcast.
That's right. Here we go.
This is Sports Brothers, coming to your ear holes and eye holes from the Parish Healthcare Podcast Studio.
Hey everyone, I'm Joe Kepner, that's Christian Bruey. This is the February 25th edition of Sports Brothers, and we got a lot to get to today. We got Ricky Carmichael, the greatest motocross rider of all time, is going to be on the show. We're going to do our Sports Brothers of the Week. We're going to do our XFL picks because, yeah, we're still doing that for some reason. Real quick, we got shirts. Actual Sports Brothers merch.
Look at
that. Right? I made it myself. No, that's not true. But if you want a shirt, we'll tell you how you'll be able to get one. Follow us on social media, and that'll be coming up soon.
Yeah, this weekend.
We have a little contest for you. So that's going to be on social media. Be sure to get to that. Let's start with nachos, though.
Why not?
Because somebody sent out a tweet or something, and you take it away.
Yeah, so this was really a trending topic because someone came up with a new idea of how nachos should be served. And here it is. Quote, "What we really need is wider and shorter plates of nachos, no more tall towers of chips and toppings. Spread the toppings across a larger area and cover all the chips, not just the top layer. Stand with me." And that came from Bernie Sanders right after he won Nevada. No, that's not actually from him, but I think that's something that all Republicans and Democrats can get behind.
First of all, Nevada. We'll have that conversation another time. But yeah, no, nachos. How is this something that hasn't been fixed yet? Because obviously everybody wants as much of the toppings on every chip as you can possibly get and a wider, longer plate. I'm picturing kind of like a really long plate that you get like flatbreads on, right? But even longer. But I would actually take it a step further, and I think the plate should be directly proportional to the table. So if you have a rectangular table, a rectangular plate so everyone can reach.
Yes.
But if you have a round table, still makes sense to have a big round plate, right? If you have a trapezoidal table, trapezoidal plate is necessary.
I want to give a shout out to Graffiti Junction here in Orlando, who does a very good job of a large, like almost pizza pan is what their nachos come out on.
Yeah,
good
huge.
For that. You get maximum, topping to chip ratio. That's what we're looking for here is the right amount of toppings with each chip. Don't want to get to the end with just a bowl of chips that have no toppings left. My not so popular take is I like the Cheese Whiz style nacho cheese, not the, spread the shredded cheese over, let it bake and melt over the top. I want my nachos as messy as possible, and for maximum messiness, the Cheese Whizzy, I don't know, sort of queso style cheese over the top is better than the melted, baked, shredded.
You're just wrong. I don't know any other way to express that.
I know it's a bit of a hot take.
My problem with that is that type of cheese makes the chips soggy, and there's nothing worse than soggy chips at the bottom of the nachos. Nobody wants those.
If you eat it fast enough, then it's not an issue.
All right. Well, my other take and my one gripe, even about the way that Graffiti Junction does it, is that if the topping is on the pile, then it should be spread evenly, right? Otherwise, put it on the side. So I don't want that like lump of guac and lump of sour cream. If use like a caulk gun or something and get that spread all over so that it's easier to get an even distribution of the guac and cream.
Oh, I completely agree with that. That's a solid take, and we will be handing out caulk guns to all of the local restaurants who serve nachos.
Yeah, all right. So that's fixing nachos. Glad we got that taken care of. Let's jump right into good tweet, bad tweet. We're going to change up the order here a little bit because the good tweet actually, I guess yesterday was when Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow, I guess, he's at the NFL Combine this week, and they measured his hands, which the metrics of hand sizes is always just an entertaining topic at the Combine every year. And Joe Burrow measured in at a scant 9 inches, which is well below your
league average
and your greats. Most of the NFL greats, I feel like, measure around like 10 or more inches. So 9 is kind of small, but Joe Burrow had the perfect response to that. Do you have that pulled up?
I do. And he said, Considering retirement after I was informed the football will be slipping out of my tiny hands, please keep me in your thoughts. It had like 30-some thousand likes. Everyone loved it. Patrick Mahomes, who I think was 9.25, so slightly larger than Joe Burrow, came out and said, thinking of you, I've turned out all right with my small hands. I know that a lot of the Burger King memes, whether it was, what is it, David Spade, the tiny little
I don't think it was guy. David Spade. He just kind of looked like him, and he had like the small hands gripping a Whopper.
Yes.
That was awesome. So I looked up some of the biggest hands in NFL quarterback history. Brett Favre is number 1 at 10.38 inches. That's enormous. Drew Brees is only 5'11". He's like our height, but he's got 10.25-inch hands. Russell Wilson, same thing, 10.25. Peyton Manning, 10.13 inches. Russell Wilson, that 10.25, that is the hand size that you would expect on a person who's 7 feet 4 inches tall, and he's 5'11".
Wow. That's
insane. But then you have some people on this list who have not turned out, like Heath Schuler, 10.63 inches.
Monstrous.
Yeah. Mark Sanchez, 10.5 inches. Cody Kessler, 10.8. Gardner Minshew, 10.13.
I think a lot of people came out after, Brett Favre had his success, and he went from, I think, a second-round draft pick in Atlanta, went to Green Bay, and everyone talked, his success, the way he can handle the frozen tundra and the elements that you have in Green Bay is because he has such large hands. Then I saw some stats. He fumbled more than the average quarterback. So it's not exactly that, and it doesn't just come down to hand size. I believe Joe Burrow will be okay, and I always have loved his sense of humor, and certainly comes right out with this, with his 9-inch hands, and makes light of it.
Yeah, perfect response to it, because you don't want to get like upset and whiny about it or anything. You just like make fun of the process, because the process is idiotic. People have pointed out that decades of research have actually shown there's zero correlation between hand size and how much a quarterback is going to fumble. So just make fun of this dumb thing that the NFL does, because that's what the NFL does. We know statistically this is meaningless, but they go into this room every year acting like this is an important metric, but then these idiot coaches still don't go for it on 4th and 1 when you have all the statistical data you need to say that they should, because it's the NFL and they're dumb about so many things.
We should be expecting calls, though, because we measured our hands before the show. 9.75 inches right here.
That is impressive.
And Joe's got a 9.5 incher.
Yeah. I'm proud of it.
Solid hands. Solid hands. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah.
But I will say that, like, I've never been able to grip a football that well.
I've never have felt like I have either, and I feel like that's more
even
of a hand.
High school football.
I think it's more of a hand strength thing than a hand size, right? It's got to be.
I would think so. I mean, if that guy with 9-inch hands is winning the Heisman Trophy and setting all sorts of records, then I would say that, yes, he would probably have a better way of holding a football than I do.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to bad tweet. Pittsburgh Steelers tweeted out a video of, I think it's Ben Roethlisberger. They say it's Ben Roethlisberger. Upper body is, I'm just going to say, a little huskier than I remember. We are not a fat-shaming podcast, so there's nothing wrong with wanting to put on 10 or 50 pounds in the off season. I swear he lost some size in the legs, though. And when I saw him, he's on like a basketball court throwing the football. To me, he looks like every time you go play pickup basketball, there's that one guy who wants to play point guard, and you're looking at like, get in the post. You're huge. Yeah. But all he does is bring the ball up and jack up threes, and he thinks he's a point guard. That's Ben Roethlisberger right now.
We're also not a beard shaming podcast, and Definitely I know it's cold in Pittsburgh, but I think I would have, if I was going to tweet out the video, I would have been like, all right, can we just trim it up a little bit? Can we, make you look hipster chic?
Yeah.
Versus full on guy who hasn't seen a bathroom in, I don't know, a few weeks. I mean, he looks like he smells really bad.
That's what I'm saying. Like, are they sure that's Ben Roethlisberger? That's not just some guy who wandered in off the street.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he looks more like the guy who's asking you for change at the 7-Eleven than he does the starting quarterback for the Steelers. They did it with the eyes emoji, and maybe it's also the fact that Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph were their quarterback the last couple this past season, and they'll take anything.
Yeah.
Hey, guy at the local gymnasium is throwing a football again in his hooded sweatshirt and his beard. It kind of looks like Ben.
Look at that big guy playing point guard. Get him over here. He had elbow surgery, and their general manager came out and said that they think they might have a better version or the best version yet of Ben Roethlisberger coming back, which I feel like is this version of like he's in the best shape of his life, but they clearly can't say that about him right now
ever.
So they go with this instead, and we'll see. I guess it's
the best version of Big Ben.
Yeah,
is that right there? Woo!
Good luck to them. All right, Sports Brothers of the Week.
You first.
I'll go first. I liked Madison Bumgarner as my sports brother of the week, my first one, because came out, The Athletic had an article. They interviewed him about it. Apparently, Madison Bumgarner, one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, a guy who's on track to probably go to the Hall of Fame, secretly been competing in rodeos for years. Excuse me. And he competes under the alias Mason Saunders, which he said Mason is his wife's maiden name, I think, and Saunders.
No, Saunders is. Mason is just.
Oh, that's what other people call it. His wife calls him that when they're out on the town.
If he takes the D and the I out of Madison, it becomes Mason, and so when they're out at the rodeo, she can call him Mason.
Yeah, or like out to dinner or something, she can say that name. But secretly, team roping is his specialty. And I guess he picked it up when he was like 15 years old. And so now he's out there and competing in rodeos and winning some of these events too. He won like $26,000 at one event, he and his partner.
And he says he kind of does the fake name because he doesn't want every news camera out there. Oh, here's Madison Bumgarner, the ace pitcher for the Giants and now the Diamondbacks, out doing this. But I don't know if he should be out doing it because he has a history of injuring himself doing sort of kind of wild sports, dirt bike. He was dirt biking and got injured. Was it last year or the year before that? And I don't know if the Diamondbacks would be okay with their star pitcher that they just, I think, $85 million or something, a 5-year deal, want him out there roping a horse.
I do know, and I'm going to say no, they do not want him out there roping cattle with horns from top of a horse.
I would just make sure. The reason this came about is someone noticed a picture and was like, I think that's Madison Bumgarner. No pictures.
Yeah.
You can use my name.
Well, it's not like he's competing at like big rodeos. You're not going to see him on ESPN2 anytime soon. But he's at these like dinky little county rodeos. But it's just a hobby. It's something fun to do. But yeah, maybe wait until after your pitching career's done, or at least you're on the back end of it, because the Diamondbacks are counting on you this year. But that
was pretty good.
Yeah, that's a great story. I love that one.
All right, I'm going to go with David Ayers. He is the Zamboni driver from Canada who stepped in at goalie for the Carolina Hurricanes, saved 8 of 10 shots in their game against Toronto, and now Carolina's in the playoff hunt. I think they're the first team out right now for one of the wild cards, currently 2 points back of Columbus for the final spot. But a month from now, we could be looking back at this game where David Ayers, the Zamboni driver, stepped in and essentially gave Carolina a shot at the playoffs.
I don't understand this story at all. How is it that the NHL, the best hockey league in the world, that you lose your top 2 goalies and they just say, hey, you up in the stands, Ben Roethlisberger, get down here. They just grab some random guy who, he is a practice goalie for the Maple Leafs affiliate, the Toronto Marlies. So it's not like he doesn't have hockey experience, but how is this the backup plan in the NHL? Could you imagine like if the NFL team lost its top 2 quarterbacks and they brought in like the popcorn guy?
Yeah. Well, it just doesn't make sense to me that this is the way it goes, because he is sitting there waiting to be either the backup goalie for the Toronto Maple Leafs or the visiting team.
He could go for either team.
It's just so stupid. Why do they not just make some other guy on the team have to step in. That's how it would work in the NFL. And I would imagine any other sport, Major League Baseball, someone else has to come in and pitch when you run out of pitchers. That's how it works. We want to see that. This is a great story, but I also would like to see someone humiliated who's also actually a world-class athlete that's already on the actual roster.
Yeah, I like it. Now that I've talked about it for a moment, I've changed my mind. This is how I want all sports to be. Every team gets one backup for each position, and then beyond that, you got to pull somebody from the maintenance staff. Or like the Lakers are in town, LeBron gets hurt, dancing usher, get down here. You're a Laker now. Yep, that's what. No, I changed my mind. This is perfect. This is how sports should be.
All sports.
All sports.
I think I'm on board.
Yep, let's do it.
I think I'm on board.
Let's make that change.
It would give us a chance. 9.75-inch hands. I am the third string quarterback behind Jameis Winston and whoever maybe the Bucs draft.
Yeah, I like it. All right, my next sports brother of the week is Deontay Wilder's pre-fight costume. Not Deontay Wilder, because he lost. And
Tyson Fury.
Not Tyson Fury, even though he won. Deontay Wilder saying that him walking out in a 40-pound costume was the reason he had no legs in the 7th round, and that's why he lost the fight. So the win goes to the costume, the decision, to the technical knockout, to the costume.
TKO.
Did you see this thing, though? It's like a full body, full face mask. It is an enormous costume. Who thought that was a good idea?
I thought that should have been the character that ended up on the Iron Throne in Game of Thrones, more so than Bran.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. Both entrances were awesome. He needed the Tyson Fury entrance where they carried him in like a king. If you're in the 40-pound costume and you're getting carried around, it's okay. You would have been all right. Legs would have been fine.
Yeah.
So maybe keep the costume as kind of a change-up because everyone expects him to just come out normally, but have someone carrying you.
Yeah, 40-pound costume. It's not a short walk either that they make these boxers go on. Their locker rooms are way back in.
He said he was in it for a while.
Yeah, and oh man, that's just like that is. I can't actually say that that might have had an impact on the fight. I don't know that he should get all the blame
or anything like that. No, but your legs are extremely important in boxing, and they can go pretty quickly. And carrying around a 40-pound costume probably wasn't the best idea. But he's already invoked his automatic rematch, so we're gonna get a Fury versus Wilder 3.
And I think for the third fight, they should both have to wear that costume during the fight,
or only Fury does, and then maybe we have to just they fight like 40 times.
Yes, we're gonna find out which one of these guys is truly the tougher man. You both wear the suit. You both fight in it, and
there we go.
And it's not as entertaining for anyone.
All right. My final sports brother of the week going to be Coach Kenny Brown. Many of you maybe just have no idea who this guy is. He's not a big-time celebrity like Madison Bumgarner, but he is the Seminole High School baseball coach. This story kind of went viral after he was fired for dropping some F-bombs in a celebratory manner after they won their state championship this past season, and the video just recently leaked. Well, today, he was reinstated, and he is once again the Seminole High head coach. I don't know if cooler heads prevailed. It could have been the 12,000 people that signed a petition on change.org, but according to the principal, after careful consideration and a review of all the facts surrounding the entire baseball decision, I have determined that the 5-day suspension without pay and being relieved from his baseball duties to date is appropriate consequence for these acts. Goes on to say that hopefully in the future his behavior will align with the high standards of Seminole County Public Schools.
Yeah, so obviously this type of story is one that like ignites the internet because, guy gets fired for cussing at kids, and then it's like, well, kids are too soft these days,
Well, he wasn't even cussing at them. It was
cussing celebratory. Yeah, there was a part of it too that sort of gets left out, that he did in the video mention one of the players by name and then say that kid has type 1 diabetes.
Yes.
So there,
I feel like
and they put that in the letter from the district that that was part of the reason for that was he was revealing medical information. Yes. But people pointed out everyone on that bus already knew that.
Yes,
so it's
he's
not like
teammate of theirs. He's taking insulin or checking his blood sugar constantly.
Yeah,
you knew that. Yeah, so that part of it is a bit ridiculous. Can we just not be surprised that coaches curse?
Did you ever have a coach in high school who didn't? Curse?
No, they all curse.
Yes.
Even the ones who say that they're religious. Like, sports is a highly emotional arena, and for whatever reason, we don't think that those emotions are going to get the best of us if you really believe that curse words are a horrible thing. But curse words are actually built for sports. Like I said, it's highly emotional. Bob Knight said about the word that it's the greatest word in the English language because of its versatility. It can be used as a noun, an adjective, a verb, an adverb. I think that's true, and it was Bob Knight's favorite word.
Bob Knight may not be the arbiter of morality that we want to put on coaching. He crossed the lines plenty of times, but this wasn't crossing the line. If he had gotten on the bus and was screaming in a kid's face and jabbing his finger in his chest and cussing at him like that, then dismiss him. But the guy's celebrating, and because he chose that word, if he had gotten on that bus and said, instead of actually saying, just said effing.
This is your freaking trophy.
The intent is all the same. It's just because he chose that, specific order of letters. Yeah.
But who years ago said this word is bad?
I know, right? Yeah.
So, it's not like it's against the law.
No, and we change what we determine are vulgar and profane words. Like that changes with society. Right now, that's the worst word you can say. And so that, but no, yes, I'm glad they reinstated him. He should have gotten his job back.
All right.
Okay.
Interview?
Where are we going next? Yeah, the interview with Ricky Carmichael. He sets up the motocross course. He's retired now. He doesn't compete anymore, but he designs the motocross course at Daytona every single year for the competition up there. He's a 7-time motocross champ and 5-time supercross champ. Yeah, I mean, he is the GOAT. He's the GOAT, and here he is. All right, and I'm over here now, and Ricky Carmichael is now in my seat. And he brought a Supercross trophy, the Daytona Supercross trophy, with him. You've won a few of those in your time as well. Let's talk about this race a little bit. Why is this one special, what you guys do here at Daytona?
Well, I mean, you think about all the history at Daytona International Speedway. One thing, the biggest thing I say this year, is the 50th running of the Daytona Supercross. So we're really excited. And yes, I've got 5 of these bad boys at my house in my trophy room, little bar area. But we're really excited about it. I mean, Daytona Supercross and what that means to everyone, it's almost like NASCAR. If you ask any of these racers what race they want to win, it's Daytona Supercross. They're always gunning for the championship, but everyone can't win the championship. But Daytona Supercross is where it's at.
And it's kind of cool. They've asked you to design the course for over the last decade now. With it being the 50th, is there something special you have in store for the riders?
Yeah, absolutely. This is my 13th year doing track design for Daytona Supercross. And we're going to bring back some elements that we've had through the 5 decades of the race's existence, and it's going to be, and we've implemented that in the track. It's going to be a lot of fun. The track design, just from a talking standpoint, is going to be less tight and a little more open, kind of like it used to be back in the day. And then with these fun elements that we're bringing back into the track from way back in the day, I wasn't even born, is going to be a lot of fun. And it's something that I think the fans will really appreciate.
When you're designing these things, I mean, you rode for so long and were so successful, you know what's a challenging element to these tracks. Do you ever throw some in there like, I'm really going to with these guys this week?
No, I don't, because Daytona gets so gnarly, naturally. The sand and stuff, it just it really chews up. And it is, I mean, only the strong survive. So honestly, if you go doing that and making it dude, I'm really going to jack these dudes up, it gets too rough. It gets too rough. So you have to have that into account. That naturally it's going to tear up and be super gnarly. So you don't have to do that.
But you're the GOAT, so these guys can't talk if you do something a little too crazy, right?
I mean, pretty much, but still, it just gets so gnarly regardless. So I honestly, I try to take a smoother approach, just and I know what's going to happen, because dude, these guys will tear me apart if I make it too gnarly, right? These guys are pretty vocal, especially with social media.
Yeah,
they'll rip me apart. So I kind of got to keep friends with them, and at the same time, you want to make it as safe as possible.
Yeah, not trying to get anybody hurt out there. All right, so you turned pro at 18, spent the first decade of your adult life in this sport. What was that like, not really knowing anything else other than this until your 30s, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically all I know now, right? Is what I've done since I was 5 years old, 1985. It was like you said, it was the only thing that I knew. I didn't really know anything other than that. And I realized at a young age the sacrifices that my parents were making to get me to where I am today. And really at that point on, when I realized that, I just focused solely on motocross racing. And it was our life. We eat, sleep, and breathed it every single day. And how could, our mindset, how could we do it better than everybody else? And we're going to outwork everybody else. So, man, when I was 18, I was just living the dream for the most part. And I can't believe where I ended up.
Yeah,
I really can't.
Scrolling through your Instagram, the Throwback Thursdays are pretty awesome with the old images of you as a little kid and everything. When did it click for you that this is what my life is going to be and what I want it to be?
Well, that's a great question. And I don't know, like some people probably won't believe me when they're hearing this, but the way that I was raised, I was always scared that someone was going to take my job, no matter how well I was doing. So I could say I wasn't completely comfortable until I signed my last professional contract. I had a 3-year deal with Factory Suzuki, and was racing 2 years full-time, and third year as an option to race full-time or part-time. I ended up doing the part-time gig. And up until then, I was like, okay, I don't have to worry anymore. But all the time, there's always some young buck coming up, some guy that has more talent than you that can do better things on a motorcycle. And I never wanted to get complacent, and that's the way I was raised. And hey, you're only as good as your last race. You got to get out there and get after it. So, to answer your question, not until my last contract that I signed.
It took a while.
Yeah. So it is American motocross, but this sport's all over the world, and you get to travel all over the place. When you were doing that in your 20s, were you just getting into trouble in every city? Like, did people have to keep an eye on you, or were you pretty good about it?
I was pretty good about it. I mean, I grew up, my parents kept me on a tight rope. And so I never got in trouble, really. I was a pretty good kid when it came to the most part.
But you got some stories, though, I'm sure.
I got some stories, especially the older I got, for sure. But some good stories, and it was a really cool sport. How it's progressed since I've raced, I mean, it's way more mainstream now. Yeah. I mean, basically all the races are live on NBCSN, and just the track, the sport in general is so much more popular. And it's cool to see, because the risk that these guys take, they're finally getting rewarded for, from a payout standpoint. Still not getting what I think they should get. Mm-hmm. They are incredible athletes, and they take a fair amount of risk.
You mentioned that. What is the training like that you're doing? Of course, you're going to be on the bike for as much time as you can, I would imagine, but also like training wise, I saw some pictures with your shirt off. You looked pretty svelte back in the day.
Yeah. These guys are great athletes. As far as power to weight goes, I mean, these guys are finely tuned athletes. Cardio is huge, but you also can't. You can't be too big. Yeah. You have to have that happy medium. So from a power to weight ratio and body performance, these guys, I'll put them up against some of the best athletes in the world. And cardio driven wise, it's insane. But one thing people don't understand is how much practice these guys do and the risk that they're taking during the week as far as at the practice track. Yeah. I mean, you have to practice basically at race speed, because if you practice at something slower, then you go to the race on the weekend and you're not accustomed to running that speed and having that intensity. So these guys are really good, really good athletes.
It kind of reminds me of almost like bull riding, because there's no way to safely practice bull riding, right? You have to go get on a bull.
Totally, yeah.
It's
absolutely.
And there's always a ton of risk to that. Did you ever have to practice falling? Did you take martial arts classes to practice just getting thrown around or anything like that?
It's funny because I say this. I think that's something you can't practice, and no, I never did. But luckily for me, and maybe because it was my stature, that I always kind of knew how to fall. Yeah. I would always kind of roll out of it. Guys that were a little bit taller for some reason had a harder time at it. So luckily for me, I know as crazy as that sounds, I was a good crasher.
Yeah, you didn't have to do it that often, though. That's part of the career,
trust
too.
me, I hit the deck plenty times, many times that I would like to forget about. But yeah, some guys don't crash quite as gracefully as others.
Oh, I saw that Kelly Slater 247 the HBO documentary. He has some guy like hold him underwater and spin him around.
Yeah.
And like that, I saw that and I was like, that
Yeah,
popped in my head in case he gets down. He wants to know how to, settle down and the breathing and all that. But that just reminded me of that. Are you talking about practicing falling or whatnot? The start of a Supercross race is just madness.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, and what is the secret to getting a good start?
Well, I think, you have to have really good reaction time, and starts are one thing that you can work at them, but guys that inherently are good starters have been since they were 5, 6, 7 years old. Guys that aren't as good on the starts, they never really have been. Now, once in a while, they'll get it right, but they're just not consistent enough. And so you're just thinking, you're looking at the gate and what the condition of the gate is like. And on the other side, the ruts that are on the opposite side of the gate, they start on expanded metal now and not dirt. And then once you cross over the dirt or over the gate, that's when you get into the dirt part. So you're looking to see what is the best line. Some guys take condition over position. Some guys take position over condition, meaning like where you start and how the condition over the other side of the gate is. That's personal preference. But you just try to envision yourself getting to that first corner first. That's really where it's at. You have to be somewhat aggressive without a doubt. Otherwise you're just like a ping pong ball getting bounced around all over the place. So. Yeah. It's tense. It's tense. You gotta keep your elbows up, and you gotta be aggressive at the same time. And a lot of it's tactical and positioning yourself to make sure if you don't get a good jump out of the gate, how can you sweep around the inside of the corner for the end result to be good.
I feel like that's exactly what I'm thinking when I'm playing Mario Kart.
Really?
Yeah, it's the same thing, same thought process and everything. No,
right.
A little more dangerous what you're
Slightly
doing.
Lower
But yeah, you get that hole shot, you're going to be more successful, right? Like that's kind of
honestly that's
key to the race.
60% of the gig. It really is, because you get out there and you get the hole shot and you're out front. I mean, you don't have to worry about as much. If you get 10th, 12th place start, there's so many things can happen. A guy can make a mistake in front of you and swerve into you, take you guys out. So definitely getting the hole shot, it makes the night go 10 times better.
All right, and I'm sure your biggest fans know this too. After motocross, you went into NASCAR for a little while and took some risks there and tried your hand that. 2 years at the Xfinity level.
Yeah.
Truck
level.
Well, 3 at the truck level too. Yeah. Do you wish you would have maybe started that sooner, had a little more success in it?
I mean, obviously, I wish that I would have had more time to do it, because I just was starting to learn and figure things out from an aerodynamic standpoint. I never knew how much of NASCAR racing depended on aerodynamics, especially when you're battling people. Yeah. So as soon as I finished it, then my NASCAR career ended. But I really enjoyed that opportunity. I was thankful for that, met some great people, and got to do a lot of cool things.
I heard you knew Ryan Newman or friends with Ryan Newman. When you were at the 500, when you saw that crash, what was going through your head? And obviously when you see the news that he's okay.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, when you see it going down in the moment, you're like, man, I hope he's okay. And then of course the safety crew got right to him, which is great. I mean, Daytona International Speedway, they got everything on lock as far as that goes. So then everybody's freaking out, So to finally see, like on Twitter or social media, that, hey, he was going to be okay, it was non-life-threatening, I think that was a big sigh of relief for everyone. Ryan's a great guy. I met him through Kevin Harvick. He's always been super nice to me. We've stayed in touch, text every once in a while. So I actually had a chance to talk to him on Sunday before driver intros, had a nice long chat outside of racing, just about some personal stuff. And it was a great conversation. So I'm looking forward to him getting back in that number 6. And I think he's going to be good.
Hopefully we see him at Daytona again in August and then next year as well. Okay. For you, did you ever have a moment in a wreck, either in the car, in the truck, or on the bike, where the moment that wreck started, you were thinking immediately, holy shit, I might not make it through this one?
100%. And I can remember that moment like it's here right now. We were in St. Louis Supercross, 2006. And I was in a heat race. I was out front, no problems, everything was good, and my hand slipped off the handlebar going through the whoops section. And I got kicked over, and as I was going over the front, I knew the position that I was in. I was kind of trapped, And I was just like I was like, just please let me get through this. I will never forget that crash as long as I live.
How did you land?
Oh, I went almost face first into the face of a whoop, and as I did, luckily I kind of turned just a little bit to try to not lawn dart in, and luckily that saved me. I hurt my sternum actually in there. And that was really it. I mean, I was banged up, but nothing too major. But yeah, that one was scary.
You got to tuck and roll like Turbo.
Yeah, pretty
tuck
much. Tuck and roll, dude. I mean, we talked about it earlier. You know, some guys know how to crash. I mean, it's not something you like to claim, but yeah, I've always kind of been a tuck and roll guy if I can.
Smart.
All right. More fun topic, the Charlie's Angels. You know, which one was your favorite? Lucy,
Drew
Barrymore,
Barrymore.
Cameron. Okay.
Drew,
I was a Drew Barrymore guy growing up too.
She was so cool. We sat and talked for like 20 minutes, so I was there changing sets, and just super down to earth person. Haven't talked to her since, but she was really cool.
I was going to ask, do you have her number? Could we give her a call?
Yeah, right. No, I was chopped liver.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
What was that? You know, that Hollywood. We hear, you know, they're doing 1 million takes. Was it enjoyable for you? And I think it was a crew of you guys, right?
Yeah, there was a crew of us. It was a fun moment. It was just cool to experience that and see what goes on behind the scenes. You always talk about it, right? And I mean, it's a full on production. And what they were doing in that scene, there was a lot of stuff happening. A lot of stuff happening.
Do you get a call from like your agent? Was he like, hey, you want to be in Charlie's Angels? How does that even happen?
I think my agent called me like, hey, they want a cameo appearance. You're going to be in California. Why don't you try to do that? I think that's how it went down.
Nice.
I think
Have you like fired that agent since you haven't been in any movies since?
I'm not with that agent anymore. But I don't. Yeah, it was crazy. He's called me. He's like, hey, you're going to be out there. Why don't you go do this? They're trying to get a hold of you. Blah blah blah. And did it? It was a cool opportunity, and still a lot of people notice it today.
Yeah.
The GOAT nickname is, I guess, the best nickname you can have. Is there like a GOAT brunch with you and like Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky, or do you guys get together maybe once a year? Or
no, man. I've only met Michael Jordan once, actually at Daytona International Speedway in 2007. He had a road race team.
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
200. Yeah. Still has a team in that, I think.
Yeah. So I met him then. It was awesome. I mean, I always looked up to him as a young kid.
Yeah.
But no luncheons or anything like that. I actually don't like being called the GOAT because there's so many great riders. Now, winningest of all time, I will take that. I'll claim that one. But dude, you can't pin me as the greatest. There's just too many good guys.
We'll call you the WOAT from
now on. There you go.
Do you have a WOAT tattoo anywhere? Did you get that anywhere?
No.
All right.
No.
There's no WOAT emoji either. I don't know what we're
No, right?
Just load of trophies, 150 trophies.
Okay, your trophy room though, because in Supercross, Motocross, like NASCAR, these trophies are big, right? They're not dinky. How big is your trophy room? Square footage.
So I honestly, I don't really have a dedicated trophy room. It's a kind of like we call it the rec room. There's a bar and stuff, TV, pool table, all that fun stuff. I have a couple of my bikes and some memorabilia in there. But a lot of my race win trophies are at my parents' house, spread out amongst all around their house. So.
Brad Keselowski told us, because he's Miller Lite sponsor, you got Monster on the hat, that he told us he has like a pallet of beer gets dropped off. Do you have Monster like on tap
I got all the Monster product that you need. All of it. You name it, I got it.
Bouncing off the wall.
Absolutely.
Ready to rock and roll.
Of course,
I
man.
love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Well, I think that's good. We've got one thing for you to add to your trophy room. You can get
nice.
This framed.
Sweet, dude.
We just got these made this week. These are brand new. Little Sports Brothers T-shirt for you.
I appreciate that.
That's all
Thank
yours
you.
there, man.
Most of the time, I never get stuff. So
I appreciate you're bringing us stuff.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
To pay it forward.
Heck yeah, I'm amped, man.
Got some swag.
This would be great. I love it. If it's for free, it's for me.
There you go.
Right?
Yes.
I love it.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, thanks, Ricky.
Appreciate it.
All right, so thanks again to Ricky Carmichael. Let's move it on to Degenerate Brothers, which I'm getting worse and worse every week.
You're actually just about exactly the same as you were the week before.
Yeah.
You were 0-4. Then you actually picked based off of what you had seen and went 0-4 again.
Yes.
I went 4-0 for a second straight week, and I'm flying to Vegas tomorrow and just going to bet my entire house and family on this week's action.
That's a good idea.
So
you
here are my
definitely
picks.
Do that. All right, let's do your picks.
I'm going to go with the New York Guardians, the dog at home. I've noticed a trend here that teams that are traveling across the country in the XFL do not play all that well, but the Wildcats, big win last week. They're getting 7 points on the road at New York. Give me the Guardians at home in the 7. I'll take the Seattle Dragons on the road, getting 12. That just is insane that a team that's, I don't think they're that bad, getting 12 points. I'll take that. I'll take the Houston Roughnecks and PJ Walker on the road at the Dallas Renegades. This looks like, maybe the best matchup early on, Roughnecks, Renegades. The two Texas teams. Give me the Roughnecks -1. And then I'll take the DC Defenders. They just got shellacked last week, but on the road at Tampa Bay, they look they're bad. They're 0-3, and somehow they're a favorite. That makes no sense to me.
I love how all in you are on the XFL. And this is exactly what they wanted, right? Like, they were going to make the lines part of this so that people gamble on it. They wanted the gambling, and it's working. It's where people are interested, at least on that level.
To an extent, just to see the final score and see if my picks are correct.
Yeah, I guess, and that's the secret. Like, if people don't have an inherent rooting interest in one of these teams, which they're not going to because they haven't been around, give them something to root for, which is themselves, their own wallets, and it's working for them. So, all right, my picks are, at this point, they have to be just the opposite of your picks because that's the only way I'm ever going to catch up, and that also saves me from having to do any research on this stuff. So,
all right,
there you go.
XFL or...
Yes. All right, so now the game that we all love to play is this a person who scored a touchdown in the XFL last week, or this week's category is a winner of the New York Marathon.
All right.
Previous winner of the New York Marathon. All right, here we go. Your first question. Flynn Nagel.
Marathon.
That is a Renegades wide receiver.
Dang it.
All right.
Flynn Nagel. Wow.
Rod Dixon.
Marathon.
1983 from New Zealand. All right. Martez Carter.
I'm going to go XFL.
XFL. That is a Wildcats running back. All right.
They scored 39 points.
They did. All right. Last one. Norman Higgins.
XFL.
That is a 1971 winner of the New York Marathon from the United States.
Norman.
2 for 2. I thought you were going to get 3 for 3 and 1 there, but
yeah, I just Norman seemed like maybe a weird one that would have scored for the Battlehawks.
You thought I was trying to throw you off there, but I wasn't. Flynn Nagel. I knew you were going to get that one. Unless you had heard it, I knew you were going to get that one. All right. Dad jokes.
Wrap it up. What do you call a group of men waiting for a haircut?
I don't know.
A barbecue.
All right. Is this the best ceiling in the world?
I'd say no, based off all the water stains.
I don't know either, but it's definitely up there.
Wow. Yeah. I don't think there's actually any water stains.
No, not in this part of the building.
Right.
Now the carpets.
We love Channel 9 ceilings.
We should definitely have a talk about the carpets in here. All right. Thanks again for listening or for watching. If you're on the YouTube page, the WFTV YouTube page. Once again, shirts, merch, it's coming. Keep an eye on our Twitter accounts.
See Bruey WFTV.
Joe Kepner WFTV. We'll have information on how you can win a t-shirt. And thanks for listening, everyone.
See ya.
Chris, play the music.